Welcome to the Investment Dive, brought to you by Corporate Capital Market Limited. Joining you today are your hosts, Amanda and Adrian.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into something that, well, it affects almost everyone. Planning for retirement in the modern world.
Right. But we're not just looking at the usual advice you'd find online.
No, not at all. We're going deep into sources that are specifically focused on a very dynamic economic environment, Sri Lanka, to be exact.
And our mission here is really to understand why those traditional retirement plans, the ones our parents probably followed, are just failing now.
Exactly. We want to figure out the mindset shift that's needed to find, real security and maybe even some purpose.
And the core finding, really, that comes up again and again in these sources is that retirement isn't a finish line. It's not just a number you hit.
It's a journey.
It's an evolving journey. And it demands constant attention, flexibility, and a whole lot of adaptability.
Okay, so let's start with the baseline. What did the old playbook look like for, say, a Sri Lankan worker a few decades ago?
Well, it seemed pretty straightforward.
You saved your money, you diligently built up your EPF and ETF, that's the employees' provident and trust funds, and you kind of expected a good gratuity or a pension at the end.
That was the formula. And it worked for a while because it was built on an assumption of stability.
An assumption that is long gone.
Oh, completely. The rules that worked 20 years ago, they just don't fit anymore.
Yeah.
The sources point to three sort of massive pressures that have completely moved the goalposts.
Okay, so what are they? What are these pressures that just dismantle that old plan?
Okay, first is demographics. Simply put, people are living a lot longer.
A good thing, obviously, but a challenge for planning.
A huge challenge.
Yeah.
You're now planning for a retirement that could easily last 25, maybe 30 years. Your money has to stretch for an entire generation longer.
Wow.
Second, healthcare costs. They're rising and fast, especially specialized care for older people, which a lot of that is expensive and often imported.
And the third one, you mentioned a game changer.
The third one, and this is the most critical in this context, is currency volatility, high volatility.
Right, and that's the key here. This is why just relying on something like your EPF balance in local currency just doesn't cut it anymore.
Exactly. If your savings lose, say, 10 or 20% of their buying power in 1 year because of the exchange rate, your whole nest egg just shrinks.
Especially for essential things like imported medicine or fuel.
Precisely. So the very definition of financial security has changed. It used to be a static number. Now security has to be resilient. It has to be dynamic.
It has to be able to absorb shocks.
Yes. If your plan isn't built for that, it's not a plan. It's a gamble. And this leads us straight into the four big financial traps that people fall into.
And they all seem to stem from this lack of flexibility.
Every single one.
All right, let's get into them. Trap number one, the set and forget trap.
This is a classic.
This is where you make a really nice plan at age 45, maybe even hire someone to do it, and then you just assume it's on autopilot until you turn 60.
Which is just catastrophic in an economy that changes as fast as this one does. A plan isn't a piece of furniture you buy once.
So what's the fix? How often should you be looking at it?
The sources are really clear on this. It's non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
You have to formally review and stress test that plan every single year.
Stress test. What does that mean exactly, beyond just checking the balance?
It means scenario planning. You have to ask, what if inflation hits 15% next year? Can my current savings rate handle that? It's also about checking your exposure to foreign currency to hedge against appreciation.
Okay, that makes sense. Which brings us to trap number two, and this is a big one. The one rule fits all trap.
Ah, yes. The infamous 4% rule.
We hear about it all the time, the idea that you can just take out 4% of your savings each year in retirement and you'll be fine.
And what's so interesting is how that advice becomes genuinely dangerous in this local context. That rule was made for stable U.S. markets with low inflation.
Not for an economy with fluctuating returns and much higher inflation.
Absolutely not. If you blindly follow that 4% rule here, you can run out of money fast. It's almost a guarantee you'll exhaust your savings too early.
So if 4% is out, what's the right number? Is there one?
See, that's the thing. Giving any single number is misleading. The sources suggest sustainable rates might be closer to 2% or maybe 3%, especially early on.
So the real answer is, it depends.
It totally depends. The fix is to base your withdrawals on your actual investment mix. It's real performance after you factor in inflation and what you actually need to live on. It requires hands-on management.
So retirement itself becomes a part-time job of managing your money.
In a way, yes. You have to stay active. which leads to trap 3, ignoring healthcare and longevity.
We touched on this. People are living longer, but this is about actually budgeting for the cost of that longer life.
That's it. It's not just saving for 30 years of vacation. It's budgeting for 30 years of being medically vulnerable. You have to secure proper, long-term health coverage.
So having health insurance isn't the full picture.
Not even close. Your standard plan often won't cover the really expensive stuff like long-term home nursing or specialized imported drugs.
So you need to look at specific policies for that.
Yes, riders are policies for extended care. Because if you don't, one single illness can just wipe out decades of your savings. It's an investment in de-risking your life.
And that brings us to the final trap, number 4, which really ties everything together: overlooking local realities.
This is the essence of it all. You can't just import advice from Wall Street or London and expect it to work.
Your strategy has to be built from the ground up for the Sri Lankan context.
100%. You have to understand the local tax laws, the rules for your EPF, the currency dynamics. Generic advice just misses all of that nuance and can lead to really costly mistakes.
Okay, let's pivot a bit, because the sources are really insistent on this point. Having the money is crucial, but it's not enough.
Right. It's insufficient. A truly resilient retirement is about more than the numbers. It's built on clarity, on adaptability, and on purpose.
So you hit your financial goal, but then what?
Exactly. A lot of people get there and find they have no emotional or lifestyle plan. They lose their identity, their routine, and that can lead to depression or even just higher unplanned spending out of boredom.
Which is why the sources talk about these non-financial pillars. So pillar 1 is find purpose beyond work.
Absolutely. This is about replacing that structure and identity that your job gave you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to work full-time.
Could be something else.
It could be consulting, mentoring younger people in your field, or structured volunteering, something that keeps you engaged and feeling like you're contributing. It's about structured relevance.
And I guess you'd have to budget for that too, like for networking or a home office setup.
Yes. Purpose needs infrastructure. It's an investment, just like your health.
Which is pillar 2, prioritizing health and connection. Longevity is no good if you're unwell and isolated.
Wellness is the single highest yielding investment you can make for your quality of life in retirement.
So this is about actually putting money aside for things like fitness, social activities, preventive care.
Exactly. You budget for it, you treat it not as an expense, but as an investment to prevent those huge catastrophic healthcare costs later. It's the ultimate hedge.
So you're not just hoping you stay healthy, you're actively funding it.
You're funding it. And you're funding your social connections, too. Budgeting for travel, for dinners with friends. That social network is critical for your long-term mental health.
And the final pillar, pillar 3, brings us full circle right back to the money. Keep your plan alive.
It's the link that ties it all together. You have to stay informed, you have to adapt to new tax laws, new rules, and you have to keep doing those rigorous annual reviews we talked about.
You can't afford to be passive.
Never. Retirement planning is never static. It has to evolve with your life and with the economy.
So the big takeaway for you listening to this is that this is a shift from a static goal to an adaptive journey. Don't fall for generalized rules, and remember that wealth without purpose and health is a very hollow victory.
And that leaves me with one final thought, something for you to really mull over. We've established that continuous financial adaptation is mandatory. So here's a question. What specific non-financial change, say a sudden health diagnosis, or discovering a new passion that needs real investment, what event like that should immediately trigger a full, formal review of your financial plan?
Even if it's not your annual review date.
Right. Regardless of the calendar, it's a reminder that at the end of the day, your life events are the real market movers for your own plan.